The sports betting boom. Vice out of bounds. Runtime, 1 hour 28 minutes. A comprehensive, deeply reported documentary on how legalized sports gambling went from taboo to a multi-billion-dollar industry and why the fallout is only just beginning. Section 1. From friendly wagers to a Supreme Court revolution. Sports betting used to be something done between friends watching a game. Small time, informal, local. Then, in May 2018, New Jersey won a landmark Supreme Court ruling that struck down a 1992 federal law effectively confining sports gambling to Nevada. The decision opened the floodgates. But the path to legalization did not start in a courtroom. It started with daily fantasy sports. In the early 2000s, DraftKings and FanDuel launched online platforms where you could draft teams of real athletes and win cash payouts weekly. DFS advocates spent 4 years convincing state legislatures it was a game of skill, not gambling, hiring the best lobbyists in every single state. Fantasy sports became what one source calls the gateway drug. Meanwhile, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver wrote a 2014 New York Times op-ed arguing sports betting should be brought out of the underground and into the sunlight. The leagues, who had publicly opposed gambling for decades, were meeting secretly with gambling companies and learning the billions they stood to make. As one source puts it, the 180 that sports leagues made when it came to Vegas, the origin story behind a lot of reversals of morals, is money. Section 2. The innovation machine, same-game parlays and microbetting. What surprised even industry insiders was how DraftKings and FanDuel crushed the old guard casinos. They had a pool of daily fantasy customers to convert, and they invested heavily in technology that turned betting into its own kind of sport. The most transformative innovation was the same-game parlay, created in 2016 by FanDuel's parent company Flutter. Traditional parlays combined bets across multiple games. Same-game parlays let you combine an almost infinite number of options from a single game. A former DraftKings executive admitted, "We never anticipated that same-game parlays would be such a big piece of this business. They're now the biggest moneymaker for online sportsbooks." The appeal is the lottery ticket effect. Bet $50 to potentially win $5,000. The dopamine hit is why same-game parlays are so beautiful, one source explains. You have a sweat on so many different things within the one game. Then came microbetting. In 2020, FanDuel bought a company called SimpleBet that developed algorithms allowing wagers on individual plays in real time, whether the next pitch will be a ball or a strike, whether the next NFL play will be a pass or a run. A SimpleBet representative described the appeal using the word sticky as an addictive. One expert calls live betting sports betting on crack. It creates a lot more risk. Section 3. The scandals from the NBA to the MLB. The microbidding revolution brought something else, scandal. In fall 2025, the FBI announced historic arrests involving the NBA, organized crime, and Major League Baseball. Cleveland Guardians pitcher Emmanuel Class allegedly colluded with a gambler sitting in the stands, texting moments before entering the game. Class threw one pitch outside the zone, but the batter swung anyway. The batter texted him afterwards, and Class sent him a sad emoji. Whoopsie. NBA player Terry Rozier was arrested after taking himself out of a Charlotte Hornets game after just 9 minutes, citing a foot injury. That same morning, someone in Mississippi had placed 30 microbits, all on the unders of Rozier's stats. The industry actually claims these scandals prove their safeguards work. The integrity monitors caught the cheating. One advocate argues, "We now have monitors who collect all the data from all the sports books. That didn't exist before legalization." But critics note that Emmanuel Class might never have been tempted to cheat without a phone app allowing his friend to microbit on his next pitch. The very product created the crime. Section 4. The sharps, the 4% who actually win. In a business where 96% of customers lose, the documentary profiles the tiny fraction who beat the books. Chris Durkis is a sharp who does not care about sports fandom. It's not about knowing the sports, it's about the numbers. He bets $15,000 on a single game, looking for moments when the odds makers have not adjusted quickly enough, like when a star player gets ruled out for injury. Isaac Rose Berman specializes in tennis, exploiting inefficiencies like when a left-handed server faces a right-handed returner with a poor backhand. Even if you're one of the best professional bettors in the world and you make 2% overall on all of your bets, if you want to make $100,000, you need to bet $2 million throughout the year. Then there is Rufus Peabody, an originator who builds his own models rather than following the market. He cold-called Las Vegas sports consultants as a college student and talked his way into an internship. His first Super Bowl, he had more than 100% of his net worth on the game and was so nervous he played golf at a lit-up 9-hole course by the airport instead of watching. He recently hit his first $1 million parlay on college basketball. The irony is that the sports books do not want winners. When sharps start making money, their accounts get limited. One sharp describes logging on to find his maximum bet reduced from thousands to $20. The game is already tilted in their favor, but it's further tilted because sportsbooks can discriminate who wagers against them. Section 5. The Marketing Machine and the College Campus Epidemic. The documentary's most disturbing section focuses on how sportsbooks target young men. Celebrity endorsers like Kevin Hart, LeBron James, and Drake normalize gambling. Drake bet $180,000 on a fight and posted about it. Online influencers deliver overt get-rich-quick messages. Prize Picks schedules their own parlays on social media. One student says, "I feel like you could walk up to 60% of the guys and talk about sports gambling." Another admits placing 1 to 2 bets a day. A third knows someone his age who has bet $4.3 million total. One young man confesses he knows gambling is becoming a problem for him, that it is building habits that will get worse as his income grows, that it runs in his family, and that he has a dice tattoo for his gambling grandfather. If we're going to revert to the question, I would say it's definitely becoming a problem, and I would like to stop. The promotions are relentless. New customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets. But all the free money is not actually free. You cannot withdraw unless you win, and since you do not win that often, the money stays with the books. The promotions are not random either. They're tailor-made just for you, based on your betting behavior, login times, and personal data. Gambling has always been man versus vice, but now it's man versus vice combined with billion-dollar technology company, and it's really not fair. Section 6. The VIP programs and the devastation of problem gambling. Brian Beal started gambling at 16. Once he turned 21 and could legally use the apps, everything got worse. At the height of his addiction, he was betting on teenage tennis players and Korean ping-pong matches. He became a VIP at multiple sportsbooks by age 22, losing $10,000. Hosts texted him constantly, soliciting $50,000 and $100,000 deposits. They didn't even know if I had a job. When he started winning, the VIP offers stopped. When his balance went back to zero, the phone started ringing again. As one source explains, VIP managers are almost like the Grim Reaper. The VIP program is really a program for very important losers. Brian worked on a doctorate salary. After 2 years, he was net negative $40,000 to $50,000. He maxed out credit cards the same day he got them. I knew that the ending was near, whether I would get caught or whether I would take power of my own life. The suicide rate among problem gamblers is higher than any other disorder. A therapist describes getting a call about a catastrophic relapse. A person who had made years of progress, devastated overnight. Section 7. Regulation, prediction markets, and the road ahead. The documentary closes by examining the near-total absence of meaningful regulation. There is no federal funding for prevention and treatment of problem gambling. Representative Taco, who co-chairs the Addiction Treatment and Recovery Caucus, is pushing legislation focused on 3 areas. Marketing restrictions modeled on tobacco and alcohol, affordability limits flagging deposits over $1,000 in 24 hours, and AI restrictions to prevent surveillance of gamblers. But bills in state houses cannot find support. Legislators passed gambling laws because they need the tax revenue. Asking politicians to put on the cape and save the day is like asking the arsonist to put out the fire. Then there are prediction markets. Polymarket, Kalshi, and newcomer Navig have found a legal loophole. Since they are peer-to-peer exchanges where you wager against another person, they are not legally classified as gambling. They are available in all 50 states, and you only have to be 18 to use them. Jacob Forinsky, founder of Navig, says bluntly, "I want to destroy the traditional sports books." The president's son is on the board of both Kalshi and Polymarket. One UNLV researcher conducted the largest study of sports bettors in the U.S. and found them to be the riskiest gambler type, drinking more, using more drugs, and taking greater risks than any other gambling population. When he approached sports betting companies with his findings and asked what changes they would make, their response was, "We'll change it when you make us change it with regulation." The documentary ends with a grim prediction from a professor. 3 scenarios could cause lawmakers to act: a spike in addiction suicides, an enraged gambler attempting to assassinate a player, or a championship game exposed as fixed. It's like we're on the Titanic, and the iceberg is right in front of us, but we're the band still playing. Key takeaways. Legalized sports gambling has created a multi-billion-dollar industry built on the losses of its customers, 96% of whom lose. The technology has evolved from simple bets to same-game parlays and microbets that maximize the dopamine hit and the amount wagered. The scandals involving NBA players and MLB pitchers were enabled by the very products the books created. Young men are being aggressively targeted through celebrity endorsements, social media influencers, and campus culture. VIP programs exploit the biggest losers while limiting winners. The only gambling helpline funded by the industry refuses to say gambling is bad. Prediction markets are the next frontier, available in all 50 states with an 18-year-old age limit, creating what one critic calls a gateway to all forms of gambling. And there is essentially no federal oversight, no prevention funding, and no political will to change because the states are addicted to the tax revenue. The documentary makes a convincing case that we are in the early innings of a public health crisis that will rival the tobacco epidemic.